All right, closing in right now, about 13 before the hour. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Drew Mariani. Our series continues here, our Christian heritage, our featured guest, Dr. Grace Vuoto. Great article she wrote, and I think it'll give you a great sense of history, a great sense of the impact of Christianity on civilization as we know it today and how important it is against the rising tide of some of this radical liberalism that we do see. Her article is called How Can a Divided Nation Become One? There's a link to the Edmund Burke Institute and her article. If you are in traffic and don't have a pen and paper, just go to relevantradio.com. Keyword is Drew. You'll find it posted right there. And, Doctor, we'll go back to the phones, take some calls here. You can join us, folks. Toll-free, 877-ROAM-777. But before I do, let me ask you a question that might get some people, I don't know, get their ire up here. Is it possible today to be a Democrat and to be a Christian? Are those two things compatible?
You know, Drew, there was a time in which it was possible to be a Christian and a Democrat, and that was really before the 1968 revolution within the Democratic Party, in which it became increasingly radical. I think today it is impossible to be both a Christian and a Democrat because the Democratic Party today touts policies that are totally abhorrent to the Christian religion, such as supporting abortion, such as supporting legislation that destroys the nuclear family. I do not think anyone that probes the philosophical roots of the Democratic Party today, as it stands, as manifested in its policy, can, with any kind of coherence, argue that this is a manifestation of Christianity in any way, shape, or form.
I see your point there, but couldn't it be argued as well that there's similar problems within the Republican Party? No political system here is perfect, and they all have moral flaws?
They do indeed, but I think that within the Republican Party you have many individual candidates, many individuals who do stand for policies based on the advocacy of life, the protection of the family, and I think therefore you can find elements in which Christianity is still compatible with the conservative elements of the Republican Party. I do not think that exists anymore within the Democratic Party.
And what are your thoughts on the Tea Party then?
Well, the Tea Party is a really incoherent group of people. I mean, the Tea Party consists of moderate Democrats, it consists of moderate Republicans, it consists of just a whole swath of individuals who are basically saying we're not happy with the direction that Obama and the Democratic majority have taken us. That's what the Tea Party is. The Tea Party doesn't have one philosophy, and I've been to many Tea Party rallies, and I can tell you that it's just a bunch of people saying, you know what, we don't like the direction this country's headed in.
See, well, here's the thing. I mean, I personally believe that we should try to take back the Democratic Party as well, that there should be a pro-life, pro-Christian, a moral, underpinning to that party as well. I think it's the best thing for America.
Drew, that is so well said, and that is absolutely brilliant, and that is one of the things that we at the Edmund Burke Institute work towards. We'd love to bring about a reform of the Democratic Party so that it returns to its roots where it was rooted in a true Christian platform, and then let's have a debate about the size of government, and we can have a debate about what our foreign policy should or shouldn't be. But we shouldn't have a debate in this country as to whether or not human life is sacrosanct.
Amen.
That should be non-debatable.
I'm with you, sister. Let's go back to the phones. Wisconsin this time. John, thanks for calling in. You're on the air.
Hey, Drew. Hey, Grace. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, I just felt compelled to call in after I heard your last caller, Dave, about the whole liberalism and Christianity. You know, I'm actually very surprised to hear somebody as liberal as he was speaking call in. But this only goes to show how misinformed and how misled many liberals today are. He said Obama's health care plan is really going to revolutionize everything, and this is only a way for the government to get more power and more control over the society that we live in. And if you look, and I'm sure Dr. Grace knows all about this, if you actually look at the history of the popularity behind the health care bill itself, there was absolutely never a majority of American society that was on board with that idea. Not at any time.
Right. Doctor, I'll let you pick it up there.
Right. That is dead right. And just to get to the previous callers, I think the kernel of his point was that somehow the Obama administration is very compassionate with this Obamacare, and that, somehow it's on the side of the people. In fact, big government programs usually end up going contrary to their very intention. If the intention is to provide better health care to more people, a huge government program is generally not the way to do it. And we can see it in my home country, Canada. Because I can tell you this, the Canadian healthcare system, which is based on a one-payer system, the government controls the whole thing, it actually turns out to be less compassionate towards patients rather than more compassionate. And so I think that if you talk about what is the truly compassionate way to proceed when it comes to healthcare, usually when you inject elements of accountability and individual responsibility, you tend to do a better job when with these massive government programs where you have unaccountable bureaucracies and the people that are sick and needy get ultimately the raw end of the deal.
All right, one last call. So I'll sneak in Sonny from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hi, Sonny. You're on the air with Dr. Vuoto.
Hi, I was just calling, because I wanted to mention the fact that a lot of the things with Obamacare and healthcare and all that, it's all on how money is basically dealt out. If you look at the prices of medications for patients, and the whole pre-existing condition, you got to really look at your pre-existing condition. Gives opportunity for them not to pay out. Yep. I mean, that's basically where it bottoms down to is the money. I mean,
all right, Sonny, let me leave it right there. Less than a minute, and I'll pick up on that point. Doctor, his point is it's all about the money. Maybe we can respond to that, and some final thoughts on your article.
Yes, well, what I'd like to say is that, look, everyone in this country initially, we agreed. There was a consensus that we wanted to reform health care, but the debate was what kind of reform? And the American people have spoken. They do not think that we reformed health care in the right way, and they're holding Obama and the Democrats personally accountable for that. I think that his numbers, as we see, they're dropping, and so is the numbers of his party, and they're going to get a rude awakening in November. But to get to the larger point, you see how he's divided us, and that's the point. He should govern based on consensus, and ultimately it is Christian leaders who create the most consensus.
My guest today, Dr. Grace Vuoto. Well, I'll be back. Stay with me.